Hi, this is Andrew for Geek News Central, and today we're looking at the Dusker Sleepbar version 2. Now this is a Bluetooth connected speaker that uses bone conduction, so it's designed to go underneath your pillow and it lets you listen to podcasts, music, whatever, as you're trying to drift off to sleep. If you're anything like me, sometimes the mind's a bit buzzing, just can't get over. So I listen to podcasts, but you know, when you're using an earbud, it can be a little bit comfortable when you're lying down on your pillow and you've always got that kind of strange feeling that you wake up in the night and it's kind of got wedged behind your ear and something like that. So this was a personal purchase. I'm hoping that this will help me when I've got those sleepless nights. I'll be able to listen to my podcasts. My wife won't be disturbed by any kind of noise, and it'll just help me sleep that little bit better, or get to sleep that little bit better. Okay, so look, let's get it out of the box and see what's inside. Back in a moment. Hi, and we're back with the Dusker Sleepbar. So let's get it out and have a look and see what's inside. So we'll talk a little bit more about price in just a second, but let's have a focus on what's in the box. So here's the Sleepbar. I was actually expecting it to be a wee bit smaller, but it's fine. Let's see if we can get it out. There we go. That took a bit of effort, I have to admit. Right, so there is the Sleepbar. So just to give you impressions of feel, it's kind of a rubberized feel on the back here, and it is obviously it's a cloth finish here, and here it's a slightly smoother kind of plasticky rubberized finish here. It's not as sticky as kind of as the back here, so I'm guessing that the idea is that this will kind of stop it moving around when it's underneath your pillow. Looks like we've got a straightforward on-off button here, and we've also got a USB-C charging port. So no real surprises. Thought there might be a volume control on it, but there doesn't appear to be. So let's see what else is in the box. I don't think there's going to be much. A strange plastic thing with nothing in it. A little USB-C charging cable. And then we've got a nice little travel pouch for when you're traveling with it. Okay, so let's just keep it. Yep, nice little pockets. Just it's nothing special, but it's handy to have, so you can, when you are traveling, you just pop it in there and you know where it is. Okay, so now the box does advertise, or the website as well does advertise, that there is an app for both iOS and for Android. Apparently the Android one is actually coming soon, so I haven't been able to download that. So what I'll do is I will see if we can see if this turns on to start with. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but there was a very faint doodle-loo-loo. So I'm guessing the next stage here is going to be to try and pair that with my tablet. I usually use the tablet beside my bed, so let's just hold on with that. I'm guessing that it's in pairing mode from the little red light there, but let's look and see what else there is in the instructions. Okay. Okay, so it's turned on. If it's flashing blue red, it is not yet paired to a smart device. Yep, that's what it's doing. Flashing, you can see it blue, red. So let's follow the get started instructions. Yep, okay, so we're going to be looking for a phone, for a speed device called Sleepbar. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay, so it says here, double tap the power button. That'll enable a 30-minute shutdown timer. That's pretty handy. That's one thing that I've done in the past, and I've put my earbuds in and then fallen asleep, and I've run through my whole playlist overnight without actually waking up. Okay, so there is the Dusker Sleepbar version 2. Let's get my tablet. Right, I've got my tablet and I've gone into my settings, and now I'm going to go into Bluetooth. Now the Sleepbar is still in pairing mode, so I'm just going to look for available devices down here. There it is there, it's appeared already, Sleepbar. So I'm going to choose that. It's now pairing. Yep, it's asking me whether I want to pair, so let's do that. And it's done it, and you can kind of see this up here. Alright, now I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hear much through it, but we'll give it a go. So let's go to my usual app for listening to podcasts. We're currently listening to The Illusionist. I'm very near to an episode, but let's see what happens. Okay, so there's not really going to be any chance of you hearing anything through the speaker. I think I'm going to hold it up to the microphone. I don't know if you can hear that at all. I can hear it very dimly, but certainly if I kind of hold it up to my ear, I can hear it. So hopefully this is going to work out whilst I'm in bed. So look, I think that's all we can say at this point here. I'm going to try that out overnight for a couple of nights rather, and see how we get on and report back. Okay, back in a few days. So let's take a look at the Dusker Sleepbar version 2's software. What I've already paired this up, so I should just be able to turn this on and it'll pair up. You can kind of see up here at the moment it says not connected. Not sure if you were able to hear the da-da-da-da-da as it turned on, and we've got the little blue light there, we can just see, and yes, it's connected. And there's another little sound there that comes on to show that it's been connected. Now if we go into the sleep bar itself, you can kind of see the various settings that it has here. We can see how much battery life is left. There's this timer mode, and there's various different kind of configurations or settings for the sleep bar to try and optimize the sound quality through the pillow. Now most of the time I'm listening to audiobooks and podcasts, particularly podcasts. I'd obviously recommend Geek News Central by Todd Cochran as one to send you to sleep. That sounds worse than it really is, but no. Yeah, so as I say, most of the time I'm listening to audiobooks and podcasts. Sometimes I might switch over to piano if I'm listening to a bit of a soothing snooze music, and there's things like jazz as well, rock, indie, and you do have the capability of actually setting it up to suit your own preferences. Now if you hit new here, it gives you the option of various profiles that already exist, or you can actually just go ahead and create your own. And this gives you the little option to adjust the bass. You can make it more boomy. You've got the mids, and then you've also got the treble. So probably if I'm listening to podcasts, I would imagine it's going to be something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's going to be things like that. And at this stage, this is a kind of easy to use slider. Now there is, I think if we hit the show more, you can actually get into a lot more detail in terms of the frequencies and things like that. I have to say, personally, I never got to this level of detail. It just wasn't necessary. It's just, for me, it was very much just a case of selecting the genre that I was interested in, maybe tweaking that other screen a little bit, and 9 times out of 10 was happy, no problems at all. You can also, there is if I just go all the way back out here, if I remember here, you can go into, if you actually go into one of these and you can hold your finger on it, yeah, you can customize it either by both changing the name. They also have what they call an easy edit, which is kind of like listening to the music and then assessing what you hear on a more, let's get this right, a more subjective. Did you think it was too quiet? Did you think it was too loud? Too much bass and that kind of stuff? And then it will then tweak. You can then tweak how much bass you want using that slider. It's very much the same way as the other screen. It just calls out some of the explicit areas within the sound. So I'm just going to go back and not muck up my settings. Now the other feature in here is a timer mode. You can go into it, and this is where you, I think if I remember, you double press the button here and it puts it into the timer mode, and then after so many minutes have elapsed, then it'll just turn everything off, and the idea being that you've dozed off to sleep at that point, and it's the music or the podcast or whatever it is isn't needed anymore. Now you can set it from anything from a few minutes all the way through to 24 hours. As the battery life is supposed to be a maximum of about 7 hours, not quite too sure of the point of that, but it's there as an option. Now the only downside I found was that no matter how often you set this, whenever you came back in, the next night, this would have reset to 0. It would have been really nice, I feel, if it had remembered what your preferred countdown timer was and just set that every night so that you didn't have to get your tablet out to fiddle. You could just simply turn this on, put this under your pillow, listen away, and then it would have turned off after 15 minutes or whatever your personal preference was. So that's the only downside that I discovered. There's a few other settings in here. As I say, one of the other things was just a low power alert. I tended to turn that off. You can kind of see it's turned off there because the low power alert itself would wake me up. So I turned that off. Nice off. It's a good, useful feature there as well. A couple of other things too. You can change the name if you want. But that's basically it. Those are all the features of the Dusker Sleepbar app. I don't think there shouldn't be any surprises there. It all looks fine. Hi, and we're back with the Dusker Sleepbar. Now, I've been using this for nearly 6 months. I bought it just before Christmas as a wee present to myself, and we're now nearly in June. So I think I can comment on this fairly well now. Overall, I like the product. It's not great. It just teeters on the edge of greatness, and we'll maybe go through a few of the issues that I've been having that kind of stop it being an absolutely fantastic product. And hopefully Dusker can take some of these on board and really make it great. First of all, sleep is really, really personal. Your sleep is not going to be the same as my sleep, and there are loads of variations in here. You know, I have a feather pillow, you may have a polyester pillow, you may have one of those ones that kind of molds your head, all those kinds of things. So this really is about me and my sleep, not necessarily you and your sleep. But I think some of the things I'm going to say will be relevant to pretty much to everyone. So first of all, there are no volume buttons on the Sleepbar. I think it would be really great. It does have an on-off button here. I think it would be really great if there was some kind of volume control, because you know the different positions that your head is in, it's not always equally loud, things like that. So I think it would be great if they did have some kind of volume buttons on it. Second, there are a couple of LED lights. I don't know if you can kind of see it flashing away there. It's flashing away blue there because I've actually got it, it's actually I think synced up to my tablet at the minute. Now during the daytime they don't look very bright at all, but I can tell you when you're trying to fiddle with it in the middle of the night, the lights are surprisingly bright and they flash away. And you know, you're trying not to disturb your partner and you're kind of slightly conscious of this thing flashing away. I would really like it if there was a feature within the software that basically allowed you to turn the LEDs off, so that whether you it's connected up or whether it's charging or whatever it is, there's just no LED light. Okay, so that would be my number 2 thing. Thirdly, I should say, is that there's there's no equalization. I think you call it equalization across the sound. So one of the things that really surprised me was that I was listening very quietly to a podcast, and then all of a sudden the low battery warning kicks in, and it was like 10 times louder than the volume of what I was listening to, and it really just woke me up with such a start. You know, now there is a feature that you can turn that off within the software, so I have done that, but it's something just to bear in mind that if you are getting used to it, just watch out for that one. Now, I found that I tended quite often to I did have this under the pillow sometimes, though quite often my sleeping preference is to kind of sleep with it kind of nestled like that. And so for a lot of the time, I actually had the Sleepbar. I just pretty much kept it in its bag most of the time, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm not sure that Dusker will want to hear that, but I did, and I found it really worked quite well in that thing, because not only did this nice soft case feel a lot better against my ear, it also meant that the drawstring bag kept some of the flashing lights kind of in the bag, as it were. So yeah, and now the other thing which I did mention when we had a look through the using the app, there is a feature where you can pretty much put it on kind of like a countdown timer, so that once 15 minutes or whatever period of time has gone by, it turns it off, and that it really is a great feature. The only downside is that it really doesn't have a default setting, and every time you want to use that setting, you seem to have to go into the app, set it to what you want, and then the countdown timer kicks in. And as I said, that's great, but it'd be really nice if it remembered what countdown timer you typically used and just used that from night after night after night, so that you didn't have to keep fiddling with your tablet when you're going to sleep. In terms of sound quality, look, this is not a hi-fi speaker, okay? Let's just be quite clear about that. It's not a hi-fi speaker. But I listen to loads and loads of podcasts to get me to drift off to sleep. And for things like that, the audio quality is fine. Similarly, if you're playing piano music or light jazz or whatever it is to help you drift off, you know, you kind of know the tune, you know what it's going to sound like, and the quality, if you like, is good enough. So don't need to get hung up. I have no quibbles about that. And as you saw from the software, you do have the features to kind of tweak the treble and bass and all that kind of stuff to really suit your personal situation. So it does take a bit of time to kind of get used to, and it does take a little bit of effort just to perfect it for you. But overall, you know, I think this is a good product. But as I say, it's kind of teetering on the edge of greatness. In terms of price, I think officially the RRP is 50 pence or something, like under maybe £65, £75, something like that. Do take a look out for offers. I definitely didn't pay that full price. I think I paid possibly something closer to about £50, just with various offers. It might have been a Black Friday deal on those kinds of things. So do look out for those. In terms of battery life, Dusker say to expect about 7 hours. That's going to vary a wee bit from situation to situation, depending on how loud you have it turned up and things like that. I don't think it's far from the truth. They talk about on the website about getting 30 minutes every night for a whole week. I think that's probably about right. Recharging takes a couple of hours. Obviously, you can recharge easily during the day, and it does have the USB-C connection, which is handy, as really things are moving away from the micro USB. So look, overall, if you're the kind of person who needs a little bit of help to get to sleep, I think this is a pretty good buy, especially if you get it at a price around £50. And as I say, it is kind of, shall we say, teetering on greatness. If we had things like the volume button, if you were able to turn off the lights, a bit of equalization on the audio, things like that, this would be an absolutely fantastic product. And it does work. You can, you know, it's nice and quiet. You can kind of hear it, but your partner can't. You can put it under your pillow. In those instances, yeah, you perhaps need to turn the volume up a wee bit from your tablet or your phone. But no, I mean, it pretty much does what it says on the tin, to steal somebody else's logo, or not logo, somebody else's motto. So yeah, so this is Andrew for Geek News Central with the Dusker Sleepbar. Thanks very much.